Hello everybody, I am JayLeonardJ, and today we're looking at Yamaha's revamped Revstar Standard Series. They have two models, and I'll help you figure out which of these two is the right one for you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, here's a video that I've actually personally have been really excited to make for the last little while. We're talking about Revstars today. I'm a longtime Revstar user. I have a Japanese one that I bought right when they launched it in 2015 or something like that. And for the first time, Yamaha has done some changes to the lineup. They revamped the entire lineup, streamlined it, and they've made some pretty big changes to the guitar. So it's going to be a really interesting adventure for us today. So they trimmed a lot of the fat. There's no more Filtertrons, no more Bigsbys. Pretty much what you have now is three lines of three different, I guess, price ranges. You have the starter element line, you have the standard line, which is this, and the professional line, which is the Japanese one, and each line only has two kinds of guitars. You either have the P90 option, which is this one over here, or their humbucker option, which is this little guy right over here. So less options, but some big changes going on underneath the hood of these guitars. They definitely still look like Revstars. They still have a lot of that design influence, but let's look into the neck. They actually put carbon fiber in the neck to reinforce it, make it a little bit tougher. They streamlined that neck profile, made it a little bit quicker, and also added some stainless steel frets, which is really, really interesting, especially for a guitar of that price point. I'm a really heavy, like chuggy kind of guitar player. When I strum, I really dig in, so stainless steel is pretty interesting for me. On top of that, this is something they also did. They started chambering these guitars, and if you actually look at a cross section of them, they actually have a very strange way they actually do that chambering. And the reason why is because it's actually aided by a computer. They got a computer to check out the resonance of the guitar and do all kinds of finagling around to figure out exactly how to shape this chambering system to bring the resonance in that guitar as full out and beautiful as possible. And I will say, when you do strum it, it does have a little bit of a different experience, I'll tell you that. Now, when it comes to the actual electronics, again, big changes. We now have a 5-way switch here with some out of phasey kind of positions in between, and a focus switch. The old ones had a thing called the dry switch, which made the guitar sound a little bit brighter. This one actually makes it sound like gruntier, barkier, like gruffer. I'm thinking of like a junkyard dog, like just kind of sound. You'll even see there's a transformer in there. So I guess they're using that maybe to change the resonant peak, make it kind of a little bit more girthy, because actually on its own, these guitars are quite clear. And that, I think, would be the big difference between the old ones and the new ones. So that's a lot of talking. Let's go play these, okay? So they have a P90 version and they have a humbucker version. They're pretty much exactly the same except for the tailpiece and the pickups. So what we're going to do today is, they're both very good guitars. They're both the same price. Let's play both of them and we'll figure out which one is going to be the best one for your sound. Let's go hear what these guitars sound like on their own, shall we? I got the P90 version, the RSS02T, or I'll call it the Revstar Standard with the P90s. That's what I'm gonna call it today. You're gonna hear immediately lots of clarity in these pickups. We're gonna start with these three main positions before we get into the in-between and the focus switch. Let's hear what this sounds like. Now, when I think of P90 guitars, I think about like lots of mids and like woofiness, but you can hear, I guess it's the chambering, how they're winding the pickups. Clarity is actually the word I would think about this one. I like that in-between position too. I actually think of it more like a beefed out telly sound, really, if anything. It has a lot of clarity and a quick decay, so it's very, very punchy, and it kind of likes to be plucked. You could really give her, and it doesn't compress on you, you know, it's just nice and open. So just a really nice dynamic range from soft. You can actually hear how the note quality changes. It doesn't give out on you, and you have these nice little shades to play with. Let's put some gain on it as well. Very percussive guitar, holy! Lots of note separation because of that. Even when I'm putting on the gain, you could really still hear all the notes and the chords. You could really hear everything that's going on. Let's go in the in-between positions here. This is the one up here. Here's the top one. Well, let's put a little bit of gain on that one. So this very kind of quacky, it's almost like the out of phasey kind of B.B. King sound when I think about it. And then we have this focus switch. And you can hear it just changes the resonant frequency, makes it a little bit more chewier. Just another sound to play with. I like to actually go with this throttle up and then go into that in-between position right here. RSS20. This is the humbucker model, and immediately you're going to hear those humbucker characteristics: smoother, that natural sustain, kind of spongy, and very, very pleasing to the ear immediately. Now you can hear that the sound is just kind of very naturally compressed. So when I play it soft, the quality of the note is actually pretty much the same when I hit it hard. You see, it doesn't really have the same dynamic range. And then when I get to the top of it, it starts to splat out, which leads to some really nice bluesy sounds, you know? It's a really, really lovely sound. Now let's go to the middle position here. You can hear this guitar kind of wants me to play it differently. It wants me to hit it a little bit softer. It wants me to play the lines a little bit more long, make the notes decay a little bit longer, not that sharp attack that the P90s kind of made me want to do. And obviously when you turn on that distortion, it gets really, really lovely. Pushes that amp in a beautiful way. Now let's try those in-between positions. I actually like the in-between positions with gain with this particular guitar. And now let's pull up the switch, go up to the top. Now that we've had a chance to hear these guitars separately, let's go hear what they sound like head to head. I'll play the same riff on both guitars. You could really start hearing the differences between the two. Well, to wrap things up, here's a couple final thoughts for you. If I had to come up with a word to describe both of these guitars, I think that word would be clarity. They're very, very clear. I don't know if it's the cavity in the guitar or if it's like the winding of it, but there's no mud. You know, you think of like a Les Paul on the neck pickup sometimes, it could get a little muddy, or I don't know, like a Les Paul Jr. with the P90s, it can get kind of muddy sometimes. None of that's in these guitars until you turn up that focus switch. But then, you know, it's kind of a different sound, but in its natural state, it's just nice and clear. Now, if you're trying to choose between the two, this is my thoughts. If you are a heavy-handed player, you're going to really like this guitar because there's a really nice range of headroom. You could really push it and it's not going to splat out on you. It just seems to go on and on forever. Hard hitters, it really likes to be kind of played with a little bit of gruffness to it as well. There is a nice note separation because it doesn't really have a lot of sustain. It's more like a Strat or a Tele. If you come from that camp, you're really going to appreciate this. It reveals all your mistakes, but it also reveals all the details in your technique. A really, really fun guitar. Now, if you're more of a straight up rocker, E-chord, Marshall stack, you want to get those nice liquid legato sounds, you're going to like this a lot. The humbuckers, there's no hum, obviously. You can take the gain. Everything just feels compressed and smooth and sustained and just pleasing to the ears. You know, things about these kind of guitars, it's like one of those things where it just plays itself. That's kind of what you're going to get here. With the clean sound, you're going to get that nice smoothness, that jazziness, that like neo soul kind of thing. Overall, just, you know, really, really fun stuff. And this wants to kind of pop a little bit, and this one wants to cruise a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And that's all I got to say. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to the page if you haven't done so already. Check out the links in the description below. And if you want to hear my review on these two guitars, please check it out on Patreon. I do all my reviews on Patreon, sponsored by the Patreon supporters, and all my demos and tutorials. Pretty much everything else is right here on YouTube. Now, my question for the subscribers, and I think you know what it's going to be. The question is, which one of these two did you like the most? Now, I don't know if it's from a look standpoint. You got to tell me why. Is it the looks? Is it how you think it would fit your style? Or is it the sound? Please let me know in the comment section below. That being said, I'll see you all soon. Take care and goodbye.